Why are we talking about Alexandroupolis as though we just discovered it yesterday? I'll give you two insights of what's happening on the Balkans, and this is part of the real things that we have to overcome that are totally not on the surface. For example, the interconnection that I mentioned, the Greek interconnection that we were able to do for 8 months, it was planned and designed for about 12 years beforehand. For 12 years, somehow we couldn't build 150 kilometers pipe. At the same time, the Turkish stream happened from Turkey across Bulgaria all the way to Serbia within 3 years. Why?
350 kilometers.
350 kilometers, more than double. And it happened so fast. No environmental studies stopped it. Everything was perfect.
Yeah, there were no ferrets along the way.
Yeah. So the second. So I'll leave you with this question. Then a second thing is, why would we have 500-kilometer border with Romania on the Danube and have only 2 bridges?
Yeah.
Why is it happening? Why when Danube? By the way, I don't know if you know about Danube on this side between Bulgaria and Romania, but it's only 8 meters deep. It's not like we have to do some engineering marvelous thing. It's a highway with that is pretty much lifted 15 meters with maybe some opening here and there. It's not something so revolutionary. It's not even expensive. So why is it happening? So I'll give you a little insight back to the politics side of it. So we speak with our Romanian counterparts, and they said for 30 years, Bulgaria never wanted to deepen the Danube. And we never wanted to give you the bridges. The bridges would give competitive advantage to Greece and Bulgarian ports, while we were saying to them, apparently, that deepening the Danube would give them an advantage on the river transportation to Romania. How dumb is that? We have, out of this amazing strategy, we have 2 bridges and a Danube that you cannot use throughout the whole year, depending. And every day at 3 o'clock, we have to listen at the water level table. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, the issue is deeper. In all of our countries, and this is really the fight that we started, there is what we call, to a degree, permanent power that has foreign influence. And you can find it in places like security services of all these countries. You can find it in the number of employees in the embassy of Russia. For example, do you know that there are only 25 employees in the Netherlands, in the embassy of Russia in the Netherlands, but there were 118 in Bulgaria, and I think similar number in Greece. And I'm pretty sure a similar number in Romania. What are 118 people doing all day long? And when we looked at in our government, we actually found out the answer. 70 of them were GRU agents. And if you remember, a year ago, we sent 70 back to Moscow on 2 planes. And the thing is, what is happening is this coordination in the Balkans. It's not a random case. It's not like nobody thought about it. There was a very clear strategy that was coordinated, I believe, very much with Russia, that was making sure that these countries look like islands by themselves. Because knowing that if they stop looking like islands and they start realizing the potential of the synergy between them, the control is lost. For example, this little investment of 150 kilometer pipeline made us go from 95% dependency on Russian gas to zero. So imagine how you can now make the Bulgarian population fear and tell them, if you don't cooperate with Russia, you're going to freeze to death during the winter.
Yeah, we did.
That was a big threat all these years. Now, if you say to an average Bulgarian, we'll stop the Russian gas, it's already stopped. But even if you say we'll stop the Russian oil, everybody's like, they stopped the Russian gas for 24 hours, nothing happened. Why? Because we already knew that this interconnection, we can play along and we can get the gas. Imagine now we can say the following: we don't care so much about what's happening in what they call sometimes the Russian lake, the Black Sea, because now we have full connectivity and we can get, for example, our oil, our logistics through these ports of on the Mediterranean. And what if we say even more? It's not about Greece allowing us to use the ports. What if we say we have co-ownership? How about that? We actually Greece to get a tenant and a partner that guarantees joint cooperation and joint ownership, let's say for 6 years or for a number of years. How does it look at this? How do you play the political strategies to disrupt the coordination? If this is why I talk so much about shared value. If we can design these contracts that everybody feels invested and embedded, the whole political games start to fade away because the economics would work. And we know business. For example, before going to politics, I was exporting. I was one of those Bulgarian companies that was exporting through Thessaloniki. Why? Because it was saved me 10 days for my US shipments because I was shipping to the US, and it was a couple of thousand euros cheaper. With this infrastructure that is, we didn't have a highway, we don't have a good railway moving at 40 kilometers. I can only imagine the efficiency that this will happen if we have highways and railways. And now, some people would say, but what about your ports? If we have the amazing links of railway construction between, let's say, the port of Varna and the port of Alexandroupolis, I mean, there are all kinds of possibilities. We can be shipping from Georgia. We can be shipping from Ukraine one day. It can be going on train, going to the Mediterranean. We have an alternative to the Bosphorus. There are all kinds of externalities that are not even on the direct business proposal that are happening. And if we do this with, imagine now increasing the EU accession on the Western Balkans, and we start getting these populations part of this game, I think the Balkans have the potential to be the highest growth area in Europe if we put this together. And unfortunately for our Ukrainian friends, they had to do the fight for us to be able to start this, because we know that when Russia is distracted, usually the Balkans grow faster. So we are on the verge of making a difference. And what we also understand is that in all these strategies, you have to learn first to walk before you run. And now the key point is to make one really successful port connections, connectivity link, and then we'll start increasing. I'm sure that once all the security services see that their risk warnings of amazing disruption once we build bridges and build infrastructure does not happen on the first and the second bridge, I'm sure we can have fourth and fifth bridge right away. I mean, we're talking about 150 million. And what the Sen is saying here, and this is the first finance minister who we don't even ask for money. We actually, he says we have it. I mean, 150 million is nothing for a bridge. 200 million. I mean, we can run these numbers on our own balance sheet without an issue. It's just about start to thinking together. It's about forums like this one, where people can share these ideas and realizing that history is history, the future is ours.
Thank you very much, Kirill. As an Laban business location first,